Hi guys, welcome back to Nat 5 and 5. We're going to do trigonometric graphs and we're going to look at amplitude today. In particular, we're going to look at the sine graph. Okay, so we talked about this briefly in the last video about amplitude. We talked about if you go from the middle of the sine graph, it travels a distance of 1 up to the maximum point. And then again, if you go from the middle of the graph, it travels a maximum of 1 to the lower point. So the minimum value is obviously this -1 here, as you can see, and the maximum value is 1. So we did this slightly in the last video. So I had said that it's like there's a 1 in front of that sine x. So it's like algebra when you write 1x, you don't have to write that 1 there, just like an x. But that 1 in front of it is showing you that it's got an amplitude of 1. So the maximum is 1 and the minimum of 1 is 1 with that sine graph. So if I was to plot sine x, so when your x value is 0, you know your output, your y, is going to be 0. When your x value is 90, you can go up, again doing blue, along, and your y value is going to be 1. When your x value is 180, you're on 180 now, your y value is 0. When your x value is 270, here's 270 here. Again, you can go down till you touch the graph and go along. Your y value is going to be -1. And then your 360, which is here, your y value is 0. Okay, so what if I change that now? What if I wanted to draw y equals 2 sine x? Okay, now you already know all of this here, all these answers here represent sine x. So here's sine x here. So it's like you're going to take each of those numbers and just multiply them by 2. So if I take 0 and multiply by 2, I get 0. 1 multiplied by 2 is 2. 0 multiplied by 2 is 0. -1 multiplied by 2 is -2. And 0 multiplied by 2 is 0. Okay? So remember, my x value was x, and my y value was 0. So it's like a coordinate, 0, 0. And we've got 90 along and 2 up, 92. And we've got 180, 0. So 180, 0. I've got 270, -2. And we've got 360, 0. So if I was to plot them now on the same graph, I would have, in blue, 0, 0. Then I would have 90 along and 2 up. Say 2 is here. And then 180, 0. 270, -2. So down here. And 360, 0. And if I were to draw that same shape to represent the sine x, I would go up, down, still go through 180, all the way down to a minimum value of -2, and up to 360. So you can see that that 2 in front of it, so this graph now is called y equals 2 sine x. So that 2 in front of the sine x has stretched the sine graph in the y direction. It's really multiplied the y coordinates by 2. So really, if you've got a number in front of it, that represents the amplitude, which is what this lesson is all about, amplitude. So that number in front, that 2 then, tells you it goes up to a maximum of 2 and down to a minimum of -2. So if I go over here and look at this one here, y equals 4 sine x, it's going to be stretched even further. Now, I'm just going to draw it here. So if I wanted to draw this, I would just draw the shape of a sine graph. And then we stretch it. Oops, it's a wee bit pointy there. Just been stretched further. Your x-axis, y-axis, you know it starts at 0. It's still got a pair of 360. Put in all your important points. Just need to remember these. And because of this 4 now in front, that means it has got an amplitude of 4. it's got an amplitude of 4, which means it goes up to 4. So up here, this number here is 4, and it goes down to a minimum of -4. Okay, what about this one here? 0.5 sine x. So again, the amplitude is 0.5. So it means it's going to go up to a maximum of 0.5 and down to a minimum of -0.5. So maybe a little bit more squash. So again, the sine graph, put in your important points. 90, 270. But this time you're only going to go up to 0.5 and down to -0.5. Okay, so if I was to draw one over here, say I said that this one was it's obviously not to scale. Say you got a graph that looks like this here, and you were asked about this one, saying what's the equation of this graph. So you can see that it has an amplitude. It goes up to 30 and down to -30, so that must be the amplitude. You can see that it's a sine graph. It still has a period of 360, so that is going to read y equals 13 sine x. What if I do another one? And I said this time it went up to k and down to -k. So that should be your x and your y. And again, it was 0, that was 360, 180, 270, and 90. So what would this be? So don't get confused just because I've put a letter in, I've introduced some algebra here, but it's still got an amplitude of k and -k, so that is going to be the amplitudes that you write in front of your sine x. It's still a full sine x curve that has a period of 360. So again, for this one, you're going to write y equals k sine x. Okay guys, hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching. Bye now.